So,
Hello, friends.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to just the mock trial of the day. Nothing serious is going on. There's no serious trial or anything. It's
it's
just,
a mock trial? Why am I here then? See you later.
No, you get back. Wedgie, I know you're still watching the stream. You get back here, I'm cutting your pay. There you go. That's more like it. There. Now, without further ado, let's load the content so we can start this mock trial with absolutely no consequences happening, right?
Now, why am I here then?
Comedy entertainment.
My God, am I loud?
You're loud?
I was just listening to stream on like low volume, and I just hear myself so louder than you. I don't know why. It's probably just my dumb mic.
Nah, it's okay. I can just lower you.
Mute me.
Okay.
Wait, no.
There we go. He's muted. We're all good now. Okay. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I listened to his stream and the volume seems to be fine.
I'm just saying, it's probably just my microphone. Like, it seems like it's louder through stream.
Mm. Well, you were at 10% more, so I lowered you back to like 100%. So let's see if that works for the audio balancing.
Hooray.
October 8th, 9:48 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 6.
Good morning.
So, you're Vera, right? I'm Trucy. Trucy Wright. That's right with a W. But not right. Right? We're on your side. You can tell us anything. Please?
Good morning.
She speaks! My goodness!
Not bad, not bad. But I think you do better with a little smile, you know? You're so pretty. You need to sell yourself, you know?
Trucy, let's take it easy for starters.
What? I don't mean, like, in a bad way.
Thank you for taking my case.
Okay. Well, that's a start, I guess. There she goes with the nail polish again.
That's great, really. It's so cultured.
Want to try?
Ooh, really?
Girls, we got a case here.
I mean, I could put some on you too, Polly.
The victim, Drew Misham, was a forger.
Hey, Polly, let me see your hand. I could put some nail polish on your hand.
No.
Why not?
No.
Aw, you're no fun, Polly.
Anyways, and a stolen painting was found in his studio. A life of crime, really. And maybe one that led to his death.
October 8th, 10 a.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 3.
Oh God.
Well, we will now begin the trial of Vera Misham. Vera Drew.
Is the judge okay? His voice is all raspy, and he's looking around all nervous-like.
The repercussions of today's trial will most likely be felt for a long time. And may indeed alter our very legal system forever.
Today is a test of the jury system. Oh, am I too quiet for you, Fräulein?
No, you were loud, actually. It's okay, you're good. I had to lower you on Discord. Continue.
Oh, excellent. Very well then, I shall continue. On the first step toward a new order in our courts.
Daddy, secret mission!
The jurist will function like a jury.
No, really. Would you go into detail about how a juris system works, Prosecutor Gavin?
Oh, very well. Since it has been quite a while since we've had this system in place, Herr Forehead. Or have you not noticed that the jurors in the gallery didn't really contribute to the verdict for a while now?
Why aren't there any jurists in the courtroom?
3 closed-circuit cameras watch this courtroom at all times. The jurists have access to everything that transpires. Jurists! Judge Webb and Judge Cool!
No, see here, Prosecutor Gavin. I was going to say that.
Ah, my apologies, Herr Judge.
Well, jurists, judge today's trial coolly, if you would be so kind.
The jurists are unbound by the letter of the law. They don't affect the trial with evidence, but by their feelings.
You know, I was gonna say a little bit, they said jurors are unbound by the letter of the law, so they could just murder the witnesses if they so want. And they will not get any repercussions.
He's being figurative.
Just imagine.
And we're about to find out just what effect they're going to have.
Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. The details of the case, if you would.
The victim is the painter, Drew Misham. He was killed in his own studio. His coffee was poisoned. By whom, you ask? By none other than the defendant, Vera Misham.
Objection! There wasn't any poison in the coffee.
A tongue. Someone has been doing the homework.
I have a question to you, Prosecutor Gavin, actually.
Hmm?
Who's this
What
Vera
question?
Misham you're talking about? We're defending Vera Drew.
No,
and the
don't
victim was
give
Joey
her,
Drew.
Don't give her the time of day. It's just bad joke.
Wait a minute here. He like reaches under his desk. Vera. Ah, yes. Vera Drew. That is who we are prosecuting today.
Again. How much did you pay him, Trucy?
What are you talking about?
This is a juris trial. We have to be serious here.
And we are. That's the
The
defendant's
very
name.
foundation of our law in this country
no.
is on the line here.
Apollo, you're the.
No. I assure you, Herr Forehead, this is quite serious. And I think that you should be the one taking this more seriously.
What? But
I mean, I agree with Prosecutor Gavin, Polly. I mean, come on. You're insulting her by calling her, what, Misham? And when we're trying to correct, do a nice correction to be like, hey, it's actually, Vera Drew. And here you are getting all defensive about it.
it's my job to get defensive. I'm a
Mr. Justice, the defendant's name is Vera Drew. We shall proceed with that.
His Honor has spoken.
I hate Wall.
Indeed, poison was not present in the coffee, but on the mug itself.
The mug? Residue was found on the rim, I see.
The autopsy report describes the manner... I'm sorry. Someone, banged on my door. The autopsy report describes the manner of our victim's death.
The court accepts this as evidence.
Drew's autopsy report added to the court record.
According to this report, the victim's death was caused by atroquinine poisoning.
Atroquinine.
I think it's atroquinine.
Atroquinine?
I'm also pretty sure.
In
it
real
is
life, you
indeed.
pronounce the latter quinine.
It is
Really?
indeed atroquinine.
Atroquinine. Thank you. You learn something new every day. A chemical compound that does not occur naturally. Lethal dosage is a mere 0.002 milligrams. So, say it for me one more time, Yue.
Atroquinine.
Atroquinine, got it. A touch of atroquinine in the body is a touch of the Reaper's scythe.
Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. You may present your witness.
I have for you today a simple man for a simple case. A man who witnessed the murder in its entirety.
That journalist, no doubt.
The witness will state his name and occupation. Oh my god.
Right. Well, for starters, my name's Mark Russell. My job is lone observer of the world.
In other words, a freelance journalist, right?
If you don't mind, I'd like to state something here for the record.
I have to say, was that hiccup like actual hiccup or was that a fake one?
That was the real one.
It worked pretty well.
It did work indeed pretty well.
Yes, Mr. Brushel? I just like conclusions, specifically the aspect of jumping to conclusions. Preconceptions make park sandbox of endless desert waste. End quote.
But you are a journalist. You said so yourself yesterday.
Well, that's true, yes, but you must understand, I stand before you today as a man with a dream. I'm offering you my testimony in exchange for exclusive right to the story. Scoop turns Mr. Brushel into that's Mr. Brushel, end quote. Let's hear your testimony then, shall we?
A simple case, Gavin. For me, the jury is still out.
Yeah!
Ooh.
I visited the studio around 9 o'clock that night to do the interview. The first outside to enter the atelier. Journalistic history made, end quote. His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. And you know what happened next? Star Falls, end quote. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time.
I just have to openly state I hate him. I hate his face. He has such a punchable face. I hate his stupid grin. I hate his hate his glasses.
So much to say to someone.
I'm speaking out of character here, am I?
That does sound like a simple case.
Mr. Random Voice in the Sky. My name is Trucy, not Emma.
Who said what?
Unless you are the one who poisoned him. What do you say, Judge? Need I remind you, the cameras are rolling today. I felt the need to be a bit dramatic.
You didn't do it, did you?
Me do a thing like that? Come on! That's like newspaper making the news, end quote. Or even contemporary witch hunt, end quote. I know, wild accusations rock courtroom, end quote.
Rock indeed.
Prosecutor Gavin sure looks like he's having fun.
I'm so happy for him.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Your cross-examination, please.
All right, I get to do my job.
The journalist's story, because I just realized I didn't say it. Yap. 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 Chris.
Hold it! What's this about a star falling?
Star Falls, huh? It's like an old telegram. Send money over.
Oh, wait, you don't know? It's like a journalism code word. An important personage passes away, the star falls. Get it?
But there's no gravity in space, is there? I wouldn't think stars could fall, really.
Does this matter?
Well, yes, it does. It's important for figurative speech.
Oh boy, this is good stuff, good stuff. How about star breaks? Nah, lacks punch. I know. Star dies. Nah, lacks imagination. Of course, you could go with Drew dies straight to the point.
Even the script's against me here.
Straight to the point, I like it.
I think we need to hear about something a little more substantial. You say Mr. Misham had the coffee too.
Polly.
Not the time, Trucy.
But his name is.
I'm in the middle of my
But
cross-examination,
his
Trucy.
name is Drew.
No, Trucy. But did you actually see him drink the coffee?
Of course! He who sees it wins, but he who says it wins bigger. End quote. I live in a man sees dog eat man sees dog eat dog and writes about a world. Yet. I guess I can say I saw him drink it, really. He had one so-called sip, if that. Man puts lists of mug, drinks, end quote. That poison is quite virulent, I hear. My stomach did a so-called somersault. Since I gulped down that coffee without so much as a second glance at it. Wait, maybe something's there. Some kind of so-called trick. Anyone want to venture a guess for the record?
Does this guy have a pause button?
Well, Mr. Justice, did you find that testimony valuable?
The victim drank his coffee and then immediately fell over?
Oh, yes. You can't go to press without one.
Your Honor, this is a vital piece of information. Please add it to the official testimony.
Very well. The witness will add this to his testimony. Vital, right. He had one sip, if that. Next moment, he was on the floor.
Objection! You know what I have a problem with? A particular property of the poison used, atroquinine.
Oh? Prosecutor Gavin was quite clear about the poison. A lethal dosage of 0.002 milligrams paralyzes the central nervous system. If you drank that, even you, Mr. Justice, will be reduced to a quivering pile.
Why are you using me as an example? Unfortunately, we weren't told everything. There was a vital omission in Prosecutor Gavin's information.
An omission?
Atroquinine is as violent as he says, but that doesn't come upon ingestion, not immediately. That's because atroquinine is a slow-acting poison.
Slow acting? What?
According to one forensic scientist.
Oh boy.
It's one of those virulent poisons, but is absorbed into the body astonishingly slowly. It takes at least 15 minutes from the time of ingestion for adverse effects to show.
If we suppose at the moment Mr. Misham sipped the coffee was when he sealed his fate,
It's Drew.
then he would have had still time left to enjoy his last cup of Joe.
What is wrong with his neck?
My
Neck.
lord.
No, it's not his neck that I'm worried about. It's the light. It's the way he's shaded in the HD model. Like he looks 3D.
I can't believe it.
Order! What's the meaning of this?
Well, Your Honor, the meaning of him being 3D, we're gonna get 3D Brushel in Ace Attorney 7.
Don't even dare try and speak that into. If that happens, then we're gonna have some problems in the future. That's all I gotta say.
If what the defense says is correct, why? That contradicts the entire testimony we just heard.
Well, Mr. Brushel, anything to say on the record?
Slow acting. SLOWACT. He was virulent, all right. Even then, he had already begun taking his claws into the journalist.
He's working on his scoop.
Oh, my lord.
Objection! Was not ready.
It's Brushel, yeah? Hair Brushel. Let's take a trip back down memory lane.
Huh?
Did the victim really die the instant he took a sip? Think it over. This is vital.
You know what I think? I think that was a not-so-subliminal suggestion, end quote.
I admit, it does cause a problem. If he died when you say he died, I would be forced to say Auf Wiedersehen to my simple case. And you would be forced to say farewell to your article.
Come again?
Oh, you can't write a story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent. And you'll be forced to kiss your exclusive scoop goodbye.
Scoop. Look, wait, just wait a second, just 1 second. We're waiting, out with it. I think I just recalled a so-called important detail. A revival of recollection, end quote. Survival, end quote.
Attorney utterly confused, end quote.
Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I heard of poison that takes its sweet time, see?
But not what I've been saying for the last few minutes, apparently.
Mr. Brushel, are you saying you noticed something that explains what happened? You bet I am. The antidote for a poisonous contradiction, end quote, you might say.
Or, I still have no idea what you're talking about, end quote, I might say.
I figured it out, but only after an in-depth interview. See? Thanks to my journalism skills, I know who poisoned that coffee.
Oh.
God, I hate him. I hate everything.
Order!
As far as I can tell, the witness is standing by his testimony. That Mr. Drew died the instant after he drank.
Lord.
Of course I'm standing by my testimony. In my dream of exclusive rights to this story.
I suppose it was too much to hope for.
What was?
Of course he wouldn't choose a simple case. Not him.
Him?
I refer to Phoenix Wright. Who else? Tongue hair Brushel. Report for us, if you would. What is it that you noticed?
This court is a critical trial of the jury system. I'm afraid no room for doubt is permissible. You will testify to the court about what you noticed. What I saw.
What Brushel noticed.
When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Drew was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note? A suicide note? Yes, he had this look on his face. Man's face inscrutable as a quadratic equation, end quote.
Suicide? Oh, poor Mr. Drew. That means Vera's innocent.
Would someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview?
Oh. I guess if they want a big story or to, leave with fame. Actually, Polly, did you know that musical artists get more popular after they die? Maybe that's what he was going for with his art.
He was a forger, Trucy.
Maybe he wanted his, forging to be more popular after he died?
That makes no sense, Trucy.
Very well, you may begin your cross-examination.
So, to be fair, it's a true fact about musical artists at the very least.
Of course, yeah.
I think artists in general.
Hold it! So we put the letter away when he saw you?
Early reporter gets worm, end quote. That's my secret.
I'm not sure I follow.
It's the night of the interview. I arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. The handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in.
Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that unlawful entry, really?
Mr. Drew sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. I know a secret when I spot one, and that was one. It does seem significant. Well, Mr. Justice?
I wonder. It does have a ring of something important. The defense find this testimony vital, Your Honor.
Very well. Please add it to the testimony, then. Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge.
You're not funny and no one likes you.
It was out of the yellow envelope. I heard it was left at the crime scene.
Are you sure about that?
Objection! As it just so happens, there was a single letter in the desk drawer at the scene. In a red envelope. Prosecutor Gavin,
Hmm? Yes?
was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime?
Unfortunately, no. But her forehead. It's easy to mistake the color of an envelope.
I guess, but not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already, 7 years ago.
Well, Mr. Brushel? I can explain that. Drew, right. He wanted to get that letter in an envelope, pronto. Get out of sight of my beady eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed away.
And what about the whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump?
Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim?
That night, the victim put a letter he had been writing in a red envelope. That's impossible.
Ah, I like your expression. So full of confidence.
It's simple, really. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope with the assistance of a forensic scientist.
What?
Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham. It's
Holly,
right here on the envelope.
Holly, are you?
No, Tracy, you're blind.
Holly, are you sure you're not blind? That says Joey Drew.
Drew Misham.
Ow!
Says.
Why would he address the letter to himself? Let alone send a suicide note to himself. That'd be wild. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm escaped!
That'd be insane.
Order! 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 Mr. Brushel, can you explain this to the court? Oh, my. How could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to be the best of us. I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lost, end quote. I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Brushel! Well, that's the thing. See, after he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Drew sat there searching his desk drawer for something.
Oh, sorry, I was responding. His desk drawer?
Yes, a stamp! A so-called postage stamp, end quote. A stamp? Whatever for? Well, to mail his letter. What else? Then, why, yes, I think I saw him put it in his letter box. Yes, it was a yellow envelope. And he put it in that box. Well, apparently, this yellow letter has nothing to do with this. Oh, how I wish it did. Just think of that word, suicide note. What a story. Sorry, write suicide note in front of reporter. Files, end quote. As I was saying, that's nothing to do with this case. That's it.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
It makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope. $100,000 is quite a good deal of money.
That's cheap.
So this was from 7 years ago, yeah? Oh my god.
So, am I finished? Here, am I finished here? I was thinking of, going home to start writing.
I hate to state what should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that rather unique face.
Advance the dialogue.
I just hate that face. Advance the dialogue.
Come on, come on! Attorney has active imagination, little else. End quote. Even I noticed something, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. You know, I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is about.
Judge has active imagination. Quote.
But does he really?
Please, continue with your testimony. Tell us about the stunt of a story. Hey, I'm the one asking the questions here, usually.
Scent of a story.
Actually, it took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview. Reporter leverages story, gets his interview, end quote. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. That red envelope probably had something to do with it. See what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare. So you threatened to go to the press with this story? That's how you got your interview? Blackmail? Well, yes. I mean, no! No. It wasn't exactly black. I mean, I'm not... Something wrong, Mr. Brushel. Look. This is my story, my tidbit. Journalist info is livelihood, end quote. Oh, I see. Well, you have me chatting away in here. What's going on out there? What if some Molly World's scooper gets squid into my story? They could be going to press while I'm going to waste! The court feels your pain, Mr. Brushel. Mr. Justice, let's pick up the pace.
A certain case 7 years ago. Wait, 7 years ago?
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Sounds
7 minutes. 7 minutes
close.
is all I can spare.
So close. 12
7
years
ago.
Metal Gear.
Hmm?
Ooh.
I mean, the judge said hurry up. Look at the forehead. Look at the shiny forehead. Oh.
Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare.
What are you looking at? What are you doing?
Oh my god.
I had to find it. Because the thing that I had, it said right, but
Gotcha!
not you're right. And I'm like, what?
Sweat much, Mr. Brushel?
Yeah, well... man can't help his glands, you know?
It's more than that. When Mr. Misham's talent was mentioned, you suddenly began to sweat buckets.
I think it would be funny if, like, he's at Misham, he's like, I don't know who this Misham is. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're hiding something!
Wait.
Wait.
You're hiding something about his talent!
I almost spit out my tea, that's why I had to stop.
What? Ridiculous!
Evidence time. Let's show where Mr. Misham's true talent lay. It just so happens I have evidence showing the talent mentioned in that letter. Take that!
Wrong one.
Oh, this painting was found in Mr. Misham's studio. There are two problems with this painting. The first is that it wasn't painted by Mr. Misham. The second is that there was another painting in the studio, which looked exactly like this one, except it was only half done. Then we have a letter discussing a payment of $100,000, which suggests a certain business operation. The business of making forgeries! Auga!
Isn't that a nightmare fuel face?
Oh, very. That is all, Your Honor.
Everyone, please, everyone! Can we keep this private, please? This is my story, my scope! Forgery? That's a serious crime! Joey Drew is known as an artist these days. But there were rumors he dabbled in another kind of art until a few years back. Another arts meaning forgery? Joey Drew was talented, all right? Talented at making precise, detailed fakes. The fact that certain criminal elements were quick to discover.
Criminal elements? What? You can't seriously be talking about...
Exactly. I'm talking about forging evidence. The rumors started circulating 7 years ago.
7 years ago? So, are we to understand that this letter, this payment of $100,000 was for...
Exactly. Forged evidence that's tiny profit, end quote.
Order! Why, it's like our victim was living a double life!
Aha! This is my chance! So the victim had ties to the criminal world, right? He could have had plenty of enemies we know nothing about!
Objection! This is my first time hearing of this criminal world. We certainly found no criminal connections when we conducted our investigation.
Objection! But how do you explain all this money? You have to admit there's a possibility of some illegal activity here.
Objection! But there is no proof tying this letter to our case. Our case was, and remains, simple from the beginning. Only the defendant could have poisoned that mug that night. And you, of course.
Hey, the only thing I ain't poisoned is my pen when I'm writing reviews.
What, huh?
Mr. Brushel, your testimony to this point has been quite unreliable. It doesn't speak well of your reporting acumen.
What are you talking about? My journalism is rock solid! Journalism is so solid you can stand an elephant on it! End quote!
In any case, let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. If we can ascertain the situation in that studio from the recap, the trial is over.
Apollo, what's he talking about?
The cross-examination showed Mr. Brushel didn't have a reason or means to poison him. As long as there's no other suspects, well, we're screwed. This next testimony is our last chance.
Mr. Brushel, your testimony, please.
The interview. A recap.
The only other person in the studio that night was the defendant. It was Vera who poured the coffee. She admitted as much herself. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the interview was that mug. And nothing that left that studio after he died. Nothing. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter.
A nice testimony. Clear, succinct, and without a room for doubt.
Ah, shucks. You really think so?
No.
I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your final cross-examination.
Right. I still have one trump card left to play. And I won't let this trial end until I use it.
Do. Wouldn't it be crazy if we just press?
Hold it! Not one thing? You're sure?
Yep, sure can be. Well, with one exception.
What exception? What?
Journalist Spark Brushel does interview. Leave studio. End quote. Come on! It's a joke! Get it? Not funny, I know, but still.
Did something leave the studio then? Sorry. I don't know what. I hit my brain way later than it should have. Did something leave the studio that night?
Well, yeah, Brushel and his notebook.
I hate you so much, Sully. Why does that sound familiar? Where have I heard something like that before?
Where have I heard something along the lines of, I hate you, Solia? Did I ever hear that before?
Now that we've proven our witness is a comedian of sorts, I'd like to turn to our defense attorney before returning to the testimony. Do you have an idea what, if anything, might have left the studio that night?
I think one thing might very well have left the studio that night, actually. A certain something that has vanished from the crime scene.
By which you mean... something other than our witness?
Of course.
Don't tell me. Vera Drew.
Believe me, any comic relief I may provide is entirely unintentional.
Then let's see what you've got for us, Mr. Justice.
Well, this thing wasn't at the scene of the crime, so I can't show it to you. But I do have evidence that shows how it could have been taken from the scene. Take that! This is the only link between the studio and the outside world.
A letterbox?
What did Mr. Russell just tell us? When he entered the studio on the night of the murder, the victim had just finished writing a letter.
Yeah, I said that. And yeah, it was true.
Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in a yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox.
Oh!
But that very same letterbox was empty. In other words, that night, the yellow envelope disappeared!
Objection! Ah, yes. Intriguing. So an envelope has disappeared from the scene of the crime. Of course, this changes nothing.
Huh?
He has a point, Mr. Justice. What we're trying to figure out here is how the poison got into Mr. Drew. Is it really important that this envelope the witness says he saw disappeared?
Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. That seems very important to me.
Very well then. The witness will add this to his testimony.
You got it.
I still think this fails to change anything, Herr Forehead.
I wouldn't be so sure. A letter disappeared from the crime scene that night. This is exactly the opening I've been looking for.
A letter was put in the post from the studio, but I hardly think that matters.
Hold it! Nothing could be more serious than an envelope disappearing from that studio. And you were hiding that fact from us.
Yes, well, actually.
I don't argue the possibilities that a letter disappeared from that studio. But, Herr Forehead, isn't there a much more serious question before us?
Right. How Mr. Mission was poisoned, I know. But Mr. Russell's testimony has changed, which means the facts of the case have too. What he's told us means something entirely different now, I'm starting to think.
Let's keep thinking, Apollo.
Hold it! You're sure about that?
Well, to be really, really precise, I was busy gobbling mint candy the whole time.
One of those candies might have been poisoned!
Objection! Yet, at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragrance of mint filled the room. Oh no, mint residue was found.
It was a long shot anyway.
Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. You think the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than coffee.
Well, Mr. Justice, if you have some proof...
Possibility is there. I can feel it. Just maybe not prove it. Not yet. And possibility isn't going to cut it. Not now. Mr. Misham ingested that poison via a route other than the coffee. Proof is possible. Here goes nothing.
You do understand what we need, yeah? Proof, Herr Forehead, not possibilities.
Of course. And Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof.
What did you say?
I have proof of the disappearing envelope.
I saw him writing a letter, I did! Which was picked up by the mailman, I presume.
Of course. Which means that envelope had a stamp on it.
A stamp?
As we all know, stamps come with a dried glue on the back. In order to use the glue, you have to wet it by licking the stamp.
Objection! Fair. No one we're talking to actually licks stamps on this day and age.
Objection! Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. He's dead after all.
Objection! Okay, so he licks a stamp. But wait. How does that explain the trick? Someone repeat it for me.
Atroquinine.
Atroquinine. I'm so used to saying it the wrong way. How does that explain the atroquinine on the rim of the coffee mug?
Objection! If he licked the back of a poison stamp, the poison would get on his tongue, yes? What would then happen if he were to put his coffee mug to his mouth? Those traces of the mug weren't the killer's doing. It was the other way around.
What?
The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Misham. Mr. Misham poisoned the coffee mug himself!
Order! But that does it?
Recall, if you would. Atroquinine is a slow-acting poison, yes? The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on that envelope. But his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe. Oh no.
You have something to add, Mr. Brushel?
Uh-oh. His nose is picking up another scent.
As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Drew sat there searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a timestamp. A stamp, a so-called postage stamp, in quote. But, you know, I don't seem to ever remember him finding one. Maybe he just run out.
Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps. Not a single one.
That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison?
Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poison possible.
Good show, good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the crime scene in the first place.
Well, let's hear what the defense has to say anyway. Where is your evidence that proves the existence of this poison stamp?
Bloop.
Take that!
Well, that certainly is a cute little frame. And by little, I mean really little.
It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself.
I noticed that too during my inspection. So what?
Apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important.
Missing something?
Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. Atroquinine residue.
What? Why wasn't I told about this?
The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe an inch wide at most.
You aren't saying...
Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A my tongue! A commemorative stamp, perhaps? I really got tongue twisted there. I'm like,
Yeah,
what
you're
is
like,
he saying? That's a long word there.
Order! The poison stamp was in this frame!
Impossible.
Prosecutor Gavin!
Why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck.
Man, I totally feel like just, it's... Kidding.
Can I say something? I had a thought, see? What, Mr. Brushel? Please stop jittering around like that! The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends, makes enemies too. End quote.
So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him.
Objection! Oh, rich. That is rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Gaviner's song lyrics, please.
Finally, something we agree on.
The stamp was a murder weapon? Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Who would go to such lengths? No one.
Your brother. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I'm not going to repeat this line. I'm just reading what I was handed.
Oh, I disagree.
Come again?
Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drew Misham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail.
The mail?
Now, if you wanted to kill someone you couldn't meet, but you knew red letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon.
Ridiculous. Where's your proof? I want proof. Show us evidence that this poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon.
I might not have evidence, per se, at least. Things are finally starting to come together.
What is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling.
I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Mission was killed.
Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice.
A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with intent to kill sent Mr. Mission the stamp of death. Take that!
Isn't this the envelope, the one from 7 years ago?
Think about the text of the letter again. There are 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor.
In other words, if I have this straight, the stamp, poison, on the stamp, lick, gasp, end quote.
Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked?
You would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would put it in his letterbox.
15 minutes when I have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter. But the clock started ticking. When the time came, he drew his last breath. And the murder weapon would be taken away from the scene.
Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system.
Such a splendid imagination you have, Herr Forehead. But it is all fiction, after all. But let me confirm one thing with you, if I might. So, this poison stamp was inside this envelope from 7 years ago, yeah? Is that what you'd have us believe? Really?
Well...
It is a little bit of a stretch, but there's a possibility.
Yes, a very small possibility, might I remind you. How small, I wonder? A poison stamp in this envelope. A stamp that then became the murder weapon. How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence?
Well...
Ugh! It was 7 years ago, and we don't even know who sent that letter!
And your answer is silence. I see. Very well. I move to...
It's not nice to pick on the Fräulein, Clavier.
Oh! What? Oh. Oh, gee, that threw me off! That threw me real off! I'm like, excuse me? What the...
Man, maybe I should have been more like, it's not nice to pick on the Fräulein, Clavier.
It's
Emma.
It's Emma!
Emma just casually giving Clavier a PTSD flash.
Me too!
Well, like my Christoph Gavin impression? Did I sound like him?
Oh. Don't quit your day job!
Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Fräulein Detective?
Someone had to come dig you all. Oh, wow, I can't read. Haha! Help, I don't have snackoos. I need snackoos. But anyway, someone had to come dig you all out of the mess you're making of this case.
Mess?
You know, none of this would happen if you just trusted science a little more. You could find out if that stamp was in that envelope easily.
Care to explain yourself, Fräulein Detective?
Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right?
That's right! The poison detection spray!
Yeah, I mean, you had that. All of y'all had that.
Produce the red envelope at once! You can open it on the authority of the court.
There it is.
Well, would you look at that?
No mistaking it. That's atroquinine residue.
Apollo is just popping his fists up in the air as he speaks.
I don't believe it. A murder weapon from the past. Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last.
Objection! Absolutely outrageous! Tell me why. Why didn't this murder take place 7 years ago then?
Well,
There's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Drew figured it out.
Figured what out?
He realized that the person who sent the letter wanted him dead. So he sent his reply with a different stamp.
And put its decisive evidence in a frame. Hold it! You're still here? Can I make a statement here on the record? I, Spark, raise a toothbrush, claim the scoop is mine! Joey Drew killed in cold blood. By center of 7-year-old lair, end quote. No, maybe something more succinct. Star falls after 7-year delay, end quote.
I can't get used to that gangly appearance he has behind the stand.
Order! I see no room for further argument here. Though I admit, this is all coming as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached its mouth after 7 years. Stamp is take us straight to afterlife, end quote.
Uh-oh. I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge. And also you, Polly. Don't think I didn't notice it before.
what?
I see no need for further debate on this matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant.
Apollo!
I think we just won!
Very well. This court finds the defendant. Go ahead.
Objection! Is this the bright future of our legal system?
Prosecutor Gavin?
A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago. Tickets for Gavin's shows are invalid after 2 weeks.
Invalid.
I am German, not American. I am not pronouncing that the American way.
But it doesn't make sense any other way.
The irony of that
Exactly.
statement is appalling.
It boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this.
My lord.
There is a fatal contradiction in Herr Forehead's claim.
Contradiction?
A poison stamp was placed in this envelope 7 years ago. Whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did?
Who's Drew Misham?
Oh, my apologies. I was reading.
No,
the book.
move on. What were you saying?
Why would Joy Drew have done what he did?
Explain that! He must have realized it was poison!
Therein lies the rub. 7 years ago, the forger, Joy Drew, sensed a trap and put the stamp in a frame. I do not debate this, but this begs the question. Why, 7 years later, did he use that stamp on the night of the murder?
Maybe dementia set in?
That's right! He's old, dying, and has dementia. There you go. Case is solved. Your Honor, verdict?
And I expect you to produce the medical records proving this.
Are you calling me senile?
Careful, Hair Forehead. You don't want to make fun of old people now, do you?
I retract my statement.
Now, surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Drew simply had dementia, yeah?
I just...
Or he put the murder weapon in a frame on his desk for 7 years and simply forgot?
That's what I'm...
Do you expect us to believe he sprang the trap on himself?
Well, I admit, this is all quite shocking myself. It does seem highly unlikely that he would fall afoul of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years.
Apollo!
I don't think we're winning anymore. I don't think it.
You mean we're not in Kansas anymore, Apollo?
We're not in Kansas anymore, Trucy.
Aww.
Welcome to Canada. I am glad to see we're all back in the real world now. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you.
Objection! Okay, then how do you explain the poison stamp that was in this envelope?
The poison stamp. 1 second.
The poison stamp. Hold on. Wait, I got to find it. Give me a second.
You mean this poison stamp? This one right here. I'm holding it. See? I'm holding it. This one right here.
Oh, very funny. There's no poison stamp in your hand because we don't have it. Ha ha. Very funny.
Oh, no. Watch this. Fräulein Wright, could you come here for a second?
Oh, sure.
May I see those magic pants that you have?
Oh, sure, I guess?
Now you see this? Oh, now you don't.
You know, I can imagine he messes it up though. So you see the stamp kind of fall.
He just crushes it under his foot and slowly slides under the desk.
Very funny, Prosecutor Gavin. Very funny.
You know, if you'd like, Prosecutor Gavin, I could give you some, magic lessons, I suppose.
Trucy, get back over here, please.
No. It is fine.
Because
It
it's
was
something...
worth a shot.
Because it would be something like this.
She waves her hand and the stamp's just in her hand.
And then if you want it to be disappeared, then you go like this.
And then it's gone.
Oh, thank you, Fräulein Wright.
Also, can I have my magic pants back?
Yes, here you go.
Thank you.
She goes back to Apollo.
So yeah, here you go, Apollo.
She takes it out of the magic pants and puts it down in front of him.
Trucy, I hope you realize this is not even the stamp. I understand the joke. You're mocking me.
Alright, fine.
Right.
She just takes the stamp back, makes it vanish.
Fine. I was trying to help you, Polly. Huh.
We need animatics.
You're grounded, Trucy.
Where exactly is this poison stamp again? Oh, that's right. A certain magician made it disappear into thin air.
It was never here to begin with, Prosecutor Gavin.
No, surely. That is what you would have us believe, right? The poison stamp. Cusco's poison, right? The poison specifically for Joy Drew,
We
right?
understand, Prosecutor Gavin. We understand your sarcastic joke.
Oh, very well then. I see no proof that such a thing ever existed, Herr Forehead.
I totally did not just drop something.
Objection! What about the atroquinine residue, huh?
Oh, I agree. That does seem to be atroquinine. Atroquinine.
Yes.
Got it. Oh, I agree. That does seem to be atroquinine residue. But, Herr Forehead, it is certainly no stamp.
Oh, you little...
Now, even if your precious poison stamp did exist, Joy Drew never would have used it. That is all.
I believe we've come to a conclusion. Again.
Apollo! Were we wrong the whole time?
I can't believe it! The poison traces match up! It can't be a coincidence!
I mean, maybe we can put the dementia claim again.
Glares at Trucy.
If we had maybe some time to investigate the hospital or anything, just to see if that's correct.
I just don't think
glaring.
I just don't think that's in the
Or
cards, Tracy.
maybe, you know what, Apollo, maybe we're just
Tracy.
wrong.
Yeah, that's not in the cards.
I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year. Mr. Justice,
Yes, Your Honor.
let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Joey Drew received a red envelope. There were traces of the poison atroquinine on the document inside that envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene, on this tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope. An envelope that left the scene of the crime with a poison stamp on it.
Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poison stamp, and Joy Drew, knowing this, put it in the frame, he never would have used that stamp.
I'm afraid you're right. Which means there is a fatal flaw in the defense's case.
I haven't been on the wrong track this whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of atroquinine, the envelope, the frame, and Drew Misham's mysterious death are all connected somehow.
Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us?
The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. We've seen that the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense, which means that one of our clues must be a fake.
Ah, a fake clue, you say? Fascinating. And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will grow quite reasonable, yeah?
The fake clue that's thrown us off the poison's trail is none other than...
The victim was a fake clue? I'm afraid I don't understand.
I'll explain. We have an envelope, a frame, and a mug linked by poison. That all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself.
Objection! Congratulations, you've completely lost me. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake himself, the forger. It makes a good story, I'll give you that.
A fake clue. Fakes. Forgeries. Ah!
I know that face. That's the I just had an idea face.
I don't know if I'm right. I'm going with it anyway.
Fluffing!
What if our forger is the fake?
Come again.
7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles onto that very same trap and dies. Why?
Well, that's what I want to know.
Because the forger who was killed was a fake.
Here we are again. The victim was a fake.
One forger smelled the trap, one forger fell into the trap. That's two forgers, and one of them was a fake.
2 is better than 1. We're not 2, but we're also 1. And we're not 1, but we're 2. Want to find out more? Why don't you find out? It's 2 against 1 and 1 against 2.
Order!
2 can be as bad as... So you're telling us that Drew Misham, the victim, was a fake? Well, if he was a fake, who was the real forger? You'd better not be claiming there was some kind of switcheroo.
I'm afraid you're gonna have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Joey Drew was.
Drew Misham wasn't the real forger. There's only one other person who it could have been. Understood, Your Honor. Forger Drew Misham himself was a forgery. The real forger was...
Polly? Why are you on
Who's
my
clapping?
profile?
That's coming from Wudgy's mic.
Yes, I'm clapping. I love this pursuit.
Polly? Why are you pointing at
I'm
my
not in control of my body. I don't know what's going on.
What do you mean that I'm the
I don't know what's
forger?
going on. Call a scientist.
You really think that I'm a forger?
It's not me. I can't control my body.
You really think I'm a terrible person? I can't believe it. After all this time, I try to help you.
It's not me.
you might
I
be
can't
right.
control my body. Take that. There can only be one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger known as Drew Misham is none other than his only daughter, Vera Misham.
You mean Vera Drew?
Shut up, Trucy.
Order! Master Justice, this is going out on a limb even for you.
I kind of agree. I mean, Vera? A forger?
Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes clear. Forgery had been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in that trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger.
Well, actually, that does make a certain kind of sense.
One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints are found in the forger studio. Drew Misham's and Vera Misham's. We know that Drew Misham wasn't a forger. That leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Misham. Well?
Fascinating.
Vera Drew.
Oh my lord. Your Honor, it's Vera Misham.
You've been paying attention to the trial so far.
Oh, you obviously.
Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Pardon me. Is it Vera Misham or Vera Drew? Who is the forger? Joy Drew.
Was that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into Prosecutor Gavin's face.
I'm used to being stared at by Fräuleins, believe me. So they usually talk to me too. Tell us, what is your name? Is it Vera Misham or Vera Drew?
Fine, for the sake of consistency and time, we'll just go with whatever's on our mind at the time. Her name's Vera, and that's easy enough for me. Oh.
So the forger, Joey Drew, was you?
Yes. It was me.
What?
The court was in an uproar, and it wasn't coming down. We had a break for a 10-minute recess. To be continued.
I love that. Is it Vera Drew or Vera Misham?
Yes.
Careful you don't bleed Trucy into that voice.
Yeah, it's true. Let's see. How long is... Oh, this is really short. We could do this.
Yeah.
And then end the stream, because I hate you all. I'm just here for clout.
Don't worry, we hate you too.
I didn't ask, Prosecutor Gavin.
I
Get
do
to
not
your
hate
own
my
lobby.
co-host.
October 8th, 1:24 p.m. District Court,
you-
Defendant Lobby number 6.
Did you mute me?
Okay. So, where exactly does this leave us, Apollo?
Well, the Drew Misham who was killed wasn't Drew Misham the forger, basically.
Huh? Well then, who was he?
Well, he was actually doing her nails. So, you really made those forgeries?
Yes. Poor father. I know. It was wrong.
Could you tell us how it happened?
My father was a painter. Loved painting ever since I was a child. One day, father saw it in me. Saw that I had the talent.
The talent? For making forgeries?
How should I say it? It was not only paintings I made. Given the materials, I could make anything.
Anything?
Father was so proud, and I so happy. But in the end, I was making those.
Forgeries.
I've never had a good constitution or personality. Know very little of the world outside my door. Now, because of me, Father...
You know about this red envelope?
Remember that envelope? It was some time ago.
So, you were already you were already creating your works back then?
I started when I was only 12 years old.
So the one who figured out the stamp was poison, that was...
Mr. Justice, it's time! To the courtroom, please!
Right! Out of time.
Wait, Vera! Just one more thing, please. Those 3 paintings in the studio.
I painted those as part of my work.
Right. See, we checked them out, and we saw what was underneath. We saw the rough sketches underneath the 3 finished paintings.
I see. Mr. Justice,
Yes?
Father, he knew of you. Of both of you.
Your late father?
He was watching, gathering information. All about the Wright & Co. law offices.
But lately, we're not doing just law.
Yes, you do tricks, gags to amuse, and play piano.
Well, they're not really gags.
Yet when Father heard you had resumed the legal business, how pleased he was.
Who was Mr. Drew?
How am I supposed to know?
What if he was Daddy's daddy?
Judging from the relative ages involved, I'd say it's highly unlikely.
I mean...
Oh, that'd be a that would be an actually pretty crazy thing.
You look very closely. He has his eyes.
You know, there actually is a running theory that Drew was indeed his father, which is kind of crazy, and I've dismissed
wait,
it.
what?
But
What?
yeah, there's a running theory of that.
Since when and where?
Since this game existed. It's not a popular theory, but I've seen it around every now and then.
This is the first time I've ever heard it.
Things are already confusing enough with all these days running around. We know that the victim's daughter, Vera, was the forger. What does this mean for the case? Guess we're about to find out.
Yeah, sorry if my Vera sounds similar, because I'm trying to also make it not
it
sound
sounds
like
fine.
YOLO.
It sounds great.
October 8th, 1:36 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3.
Court is now back in session.
Vera seems pretty tense. She's practically chewing her fingernails clean off. Here, here.
Perhaps you could begin by telling us how it all worked. How did you set up this? What was it again? Oh yes, Joy Drew Forger persona.
There's that stare again. He's drilling more holes into his head.
No, it's hard for you. But hey, he's a handsome guy.
What's hard?
Very well, miss, if you would. Did you really make those detestable forgeries?
Perhaps you'd better answer my question. Were you the one who painted that painting? The remarkably similar one.
Yes. I painted it, yes. Father praised me quite highly for it.
So, she was the one who made the forgeries.
Yet she did not wish to reveal the truth of their operation. So the victim was a stand-in, a decoy. To the world at large, he was the forger, not her.
I've done a bad thing. I have, haven't I?
Regardless, we need a little more information. About, for instance, this. You have seen this before, yeah?
Yes. It was in the desk drawer.
Very well, you may proceed with your testimony. Tell us everything you know about this envelope.
The red envelope. I created things. Father sold them. This envelope came after my first work. It was other than a painting. Father handled the deal. All of it. I received the stamp that was in that envelope. It was after that job that we moved to the current studio.
There certainly was much of great interest in your testimony.
Not that the witness realized.
Very well. Please begin the cross-examination.
Right. Okay. I need more information about this forger. This Drew Misham.
This could be a big one.
Hold it! So, these things you were making, they're... you mean paintings, identical to other paintings, right?
The closer they were, the happier Father was. Was happy too.
Still, you are quite young now. When did you begin this work?
first painting sold when I was 12.
Your Honor! She had no idea what she was doing was illegal.
Objection! Easy there, little attorney. You're not here to defend her for the crime of forgery.
True. Please, tell us more about this envelope. This envelope that may very well have killed your father.
All right.
Hold it! By other than a painting, you mean you'd only done paintings up to that point?
Yes. But Father had a realization. Noticed my talent extended to making things other than paintings.
For instance?
For instance, a letter someone had written. Or a fingerprint left upon a cup. Or a signature on a document. A seal upon a letter.
None of this makes her sound very innocent at all.
On the $100,000 promised in this letter was a start. The beginning of a new industry for Joey Drew.
A new industry?
The creation of items to be used in criminal proceedings. Forging evidence, in other words.
Uh-oh.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I know, like, our bit about, like, being, like, Joey Drew and Vera Drew, but I'm sorry, it kind of fits. Really, it does.
Hold it! What do you mean, you received it?
Did I do something wrong?
You didn't use that stamp before it was dangerous, correct? Deadly poison! On the back! That's for quinine!
Objection! A moment, Herr Forehead. You can't force an answer upon the witness. Now then, perhaps you would tell me, Fräulein Vera. Why did you receive this stamp?
Is something wrong?
It was beautiful.
Oh, you mean it was one of those commemorative stamps?
I don't know how many times I'm going to draw the stamp again and again when I could just show the same image, but yes.
She's
I
showing
think
off.
it was.
So, you didn't know about the poison? I guess not.
So the trap failed by chance, by mistake. Thanks to this commemorative stamp.
Quite the close call.
Hold it! You mean you moved to where the current Drew studio is?
Yes. Saw very few people there. Began drawing picture books.
This single job had tied them to the criminal underworld. I think Mr. Misham wished to reduce their visibility in the world at large.
When we
Mr.
had
Drew, I should say.
when we had to meet someone for some reason, Father posed as the creator of the work.
So that was the real essence of the artist, Drew Misham. You did the work, and he supplied the face.
So, you really didn't know anything, did you? You had no idea how much danger you were in.
Apparently not.
About this commemorative stamp. Could you tell us more about it?
It was very pretty. And more than that,
Yes?
it was a picture of people I liked at the time.
This is something new.
Apparently, we got some cross-examination yet ahead of us. If you would be so kind as to continue your testimony, Fräulein.
The stamp was a picture of my favorite magicians, so I kept it.
Objection! Those magicians you liked. Was it this bunch?
Oh, they're not a bunch!
I see. Still, I have to wonder. Why include a commemorative stamp like that in the business letter?
Good question.
Well, pretty stamps are always better, and you can't beat Troop Grammarade.
Grammarade.
Gatorade!
Oh my lord.
But the whole murder plan was a failure because of it. Ironic, don't you think? Prosecutor Gavin?
Uh-oh.
Prosecutor Gavin?
Grammarly.
What's with Gavin?
Might I ask you just one question as his witness? In your testimony just now, you stated this was your first work that was other than a painting. Please tell me, what exactly did you make?
Can I ask what?
No! Answer the question now!
Prosecutor Gavin? You're usually not the one whose volume concerns me.
Yes, it is unbecoming of me. I apologize. But I must know. Please, Miss Misham, Miss Drew, whichever you prefer, please tell me.
It was a book. A single page in a book.
A book? Please, be more specific.
Was a handwritten book. Like a diary.
No! I don't! No!
What's going on with Prosecutor Gavin? It looks like he just saw a ghost.
Miss Drew, Miss Misham, whichever, is this book. Was there a picture of a silk hat on the back cover? Yes or no?
How did you know?
Objection! Prosecutor Gavin, the defendant is answering all of your questions. Stop badgering her.
He's told you nothing, has he? Your soiled, sullied mentor. Nothing?
Sully... Who?
Phoenix right. Who else?
Daddy?
He never told you about the trial 7 years ago? About how he came to lose his attorney's badge? That rotten, no good fortune. It was a certain piece of evidence that decided his fate, you know. A certain diary. On the back, it bore the mark of a silk hat.
What? Phoenix Wright, tossed out of the profession by false evidence. And the forger who made that evidence... Is this ghost standing right in front of me? Vera, you must tell us! The evidence you made was used in a trial 7 years ago. Who asked Drew Misham, you, to forge that evidence? For all of our sakes, Who was it?
We only met once.
You met the client? Well, who was it?
It was...
What's going on with Vera? She's staring at Prosecutor Gavin's face again.
Yes, what? Is there something about me?
I remember clearly. Remember who gave me the book. The diary.
Who was it? Vera!
Bleh.
Right.
Defendant Vera Drew. Condition: unconscious. Examiner's diagnosis: acute atroquinine poisoning. This ends the recording of the trial for the murder of Joy Drew. Vera Drew was, during the trial, poisoned by an unknown assailant. The dosage was just under the lethal amount, sparing the defendant's life. She is currently in intensive care and is not to be disturbed for any reason. A very simple case at first glance. Until it finally began to show its true colors. The long road to the truth takes us to the record of another trial. In some ways, that was the starting point of it all. And that is where we must go. To find the whole truth.
Hey, baby.
She's a baby.
How
To be continued.
How do I get higher than the voice I have right now for Trucy?
Just do Pearl again.
Oh, Mr. Oh, wait, that one. Oh, boy.
But yay, we did it, guys.
And now you have the trial 7 years ago.
7 years ago. Almost 12 years ago.
I ain't gonna lie, I kind of got chills when I heard the original Trilogy trial theme. That was really cool.
Yeah, that definitely is a really good addition. Also, I hope that like Vera choke thing went through because I don't know if I was too quiet and it cut out, but
Yeah, no, we heard you.
yay! Sound like a
And
diet.
finally we have the definitive Phoenix Wright look. He looks really, really good in the HD Apollo game compared to the HD Trilogy. Don't ask me why, but I think he looks so good.
It's like the perfect blend of the new modern, but also while keeping that retro feel from the GBA.
Yeah, I don't know. I truly don't know why they didn't do it for the Trilogy. Weird.
But yep, so what will happen
What a
next week? I
cliffhanger.
mean, for all who played the game, you know, but we could pretend that you didn't. It's a very new game and that no one has ever played it before. What will happen?
Yeah, this game just came out, right?
Yeah, it just came out like yesterday. We actually played this
Wow.
whole entire game like today. Y'all just missed it.
Yeah, y'all blinked and, that's what happened.
Don't blink, or you'll
Don't
miss
blink.
me.
Don't blink, you'll miss. You blink, you start over. You blink, you start life over. Man. But yeah, so... Oh, okay, good. I didn't break anything. I thought I just did break something. I'm good at that. I'm really good at that.
We know you are.
I don't know how I feel about that. But anyways, so until next stream, which will most likely either be next Friday or maybe over the week for the funny little getting over it, probably. Maybe. Don't know yet. We'll see. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next stream and video.
Bye-bye.
Bye.